Dollar. Dirt on money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back on the channel. Hey, man, we got Rotten Mango today's video. 20 police officers listen on the phone as he sliced her into 365 pieces to make human flesh peels.
Mm-hmm.
You ready with me, right? Crazy title.
Mm-hmm.
Insane, bro. Hey, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you gotta do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
Lock it in with a thumbs up.
let us know what we should do next. Also, hey, for everyone who constantly keep requesting things, Discord is where you put in suggestions or recommended videos for us to react to. Discord link is down below for y'all. Mm-hmm. But let's go. Let's check this out. Let's see what's about. You ready?
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
There's a very famous apartment unit in South Korea. This one apartment unit was all over the news for months. I mean, almost everyone in Korea at the time knew about it. And it's interesting because typically South Korean apartments will go viral for being expensive. There's complexes like 9-1 Hanan complex in South Korea. We briefly covered it on my other channel, Stephanie Sue, but it almost has this Black Mirror feeling to it. It's like a fortress in the middle of Seoul, South Korea. Even in order to get in, not into somebody's personal unit, but just onto the grounds, the walking path outside, you need to pass a 4-step verification system. The complex, it's like a city inside a city. It's really crazy. A lot of K-pop idols live there. And typically, these units will go viral because a K-pop idol will come and drop 7 million in cash for it, 15 million in cash for it, and it's all over the news. You don't really hear about random regular apartments going viral. This one-bedroom apartment went viral for what happened inside. You step inside this unit and you're gonna feel like you're in some sort of serial killer's bunker. The place is foul, even just looking at pictures of it. There's not many surfaces, it's barely furnished, but the few flat surfaces there are, they're greasy. They're not even sticky looking. They look greasy, like they're covered slick in oil. The whole place is said to smell like perpetually wet towels. It's like there were towels bunched up and thrown into the corner and just forgotten. That pungent, sour mildew smell. The whole place is a mess. It looks almost trashed. There's women's feminine pads littered all over the place, except there's no woman that lives there. There's dozens of graphic photos of women just laying around on the floor, on the bed, on the desk, next to crumpled up dirty tissues. There's poisonous snake liquor bottles in the restroom.
Wait, poisonous snake liquor bottle? What is that?
Where they put a dead poisonous snake into the liquor.
Oh.
Yeah, we talked about it in the North Korea case. Yeah. Now, business cards for traveling sex workers. We come to you, they say. All crammed into 200 square feet. Even the door to the unit, it's this storage shed looking steel door, no peephole, just a random dirty steel door bolted to the side of a brick building. Right when you walk in, the whole place is said to be very dark. On the left, there's a small kitchen, refrigerator, sink, kitchen knives. Then to your right, there's a door to the bathroom. You don't even need to walk in to know that the entire room is gonna reek of stale urine. For whatever reason, if you do decide to keep walking in, deeper into the unit, you step further in, you're going to see a bedroom. It's even more grimy. There's a dirty bed pushed up against the wall, open suitcases all over the floor. They're all stuffed with dirty clothes. Dirty underwear is poking out with marks on them. It's nasty. Look, some psychiatrists believe the home is a window into the patient's mind, which if that's the case, whatever is going on in this apartment, it's not looking good. But it is absolutely perfect for 41-year-old Oh Won. This is his kitchen. He's got his washing machine in the unit. What more can he ask for? And the rent is only $150 a month. And more importantly, the neighbors do not bother him. That is the most important thing to this man. To get into a flow state, he needs complete and utter privacy, isolation. The night of April 1st, Sunday night, Oh-won is getting into his next at-home project. Everything is just set up for success. He's got a whole bottle of his favorite Chinese liquor, 55% alcohol by volume. Vodka is about 40%. This is stronger, and he drinks it like water. He sips on it all day long since he got home. He's still sober, but the alcohol is making him dehydrated. Every sip that he takes, his dry, cracked lips are sticking to his rotting yellow teeth. He's wiping his lips with the back of his hand, and he's grabbing his phone because it's that time again. He feels the urge. First, the urge starts in his stomach. But then it's basically autopilot mode. He's staring at the screen, swiping, and it's a whole debate. Does he finish the video that he started earlier, or does he find a completely new, more exciting video? Maybe go with the unknown? It could be his comfort video, just playing in the background while he works. He presses play, and he puts his phone up against the bathroom sink, and the woman's moaning is just echoing off the bathroom wall. He lights a cigarette, squats down with his 8-inch kitchen knife, and starts moving it back and forth. He has a plastic bag next to him, and he starts slicing thin, uniform slices of meat, like the ones you get at Hot Pot or Shabu Shabu. And the key is that each cut has to be uniform, all the same thickness and size. It's the most enjoyable for consumption that way. He makes another thin slice. He looks up, stares at his phone, and the woman is still making explicit noises because it's an adult video. He makes another slice, looks up, the woman on his screen is now screaming. He makes another slice, looks up, the woman on his screen is close to crying now. Before Oh-won knew it, 6 hours had passed. He had fallen into his flow state. He had 365 plus pieces of meat, cut meticulously in uniform, same-sized, thin pieces. He's portioned them out and placed them into 17 separate black plastic bags. And now all that's left, really, are just the bones. And the parts that don't really matter. He flips over the piece that he's been working on all morning, and he stares at her face. He didn't take any meat from there. Because you know those fish drawings where it shows the fish's head and tail that are intact, but the middle part are all bones? Her face and hair were still intact, but below her neck, every piece of her body, all the flesh had been sliced off up until her knees. He had deboned her.
She said knees? What the Yo. Sick ass.
Very, to say the least.
Literally fillet.
Yep.
We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support World Central Kitchen, a nonprofit that is first in the front lines. They help provide fresh meals to survivors of disasters and humanitarian crises. As of right now, their focus is providing fresh meals for Palestinians in Gaza. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team of dedicated researchers and translators. We would also like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates of these causes. As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com, but a few quick disclaimers before we get started. The identity of the victim in today's case is protected, and she is often referred to as Victim A, Miss K, Miss Kwok, Victim Kwok, or just the victim in official sources. Because of that, unfortunately, there's just going to be a lot less of a focus on the victim's life before the crime. However, the victim's family have been very outspoken about their thoughts of the handling of this case, so this episode is going to primarily focus more on that. And an additional note, the family members have also chosen to stay anonymous as well. Lastly, the theory included in today's video is not just an internet theory. It was actually debated in court during the trial, and the victim's family firmly believes this to be the truth. So we're not diving into a deep, sensitive online theory. I mean, this is truly what the victim's family believe happened to their loved ones, or at least they believe there's a strong connection here. So with that being said, let's get into it. A few years ago at Incheon International Airport in South Korea, Customs officers are doing routine checks in the incoming luggage. They're expecting occasional expected violations, prohibited food items, live wildlife. I mean, you would be surprised at how often people try to smuggle in live animals into a foreign country. Live tarantulas, pigeons wrapped in padded envelopes. Stranger things have happened in the customs department. But they're like, wait, don't let that one through. The scans are all ringing off on that one. The customs officers, they pull a few suitcases off to the side, they open them up, and they're just staring at each other. They're staring at thousands, almost 20,000. So not even just thousands. Like, think about 20,000 pills stuffed into clear Ziploc plastic bags.
Capsules or
Capsules. Clear capsules that have this weird dark orange, almost brownish powder inside. No label, no identifying markers, no bottle, just pills inside plastic bags. I mean, they do kind of look like supplements, but I mean, do you really need 17,000 pills in a plastic bag for a light vacation?
no, what is it? Labels, nothing.
Nothing. Not even a note. It's just magnesium.
That's
Nothing.
not suspicious at all.
Yeah. And so South Korea being South Korea, the first thought they have is drugs. We have just stumbled upon a massive narcotic smuggling operation. To them, this is El Chapo level activity. They confiscate all the pills. They start testing every single one of them. What the hell is in this? Apparently, the pills were being smuggled into Korea and being advertised as performance enhancing pills for vitality and strive. It's supposed to boost your stamina. Beyond that, they have no idea what this pill is for. Some people say, actually, that pill cures cancer. It cures everything. If you've got a problem, you take these pills. That's why we're bringing it into South Korea to save South Koreans. That's the thing, right?
But no label.
No label, nothing. It's a magic pill to fix your life's problem and your entire body. You can't get excited during intimate time? Take this pill. Do you have a terminal illness? Take this pill. Okay, so what are they made out of? Illegally strong Viagra, methamphetamines, fentanyl? The lab techs start testing them all. Opioids? Negative. Ketamine? Negative. Cocaine? Negative. Fentanyl? Negative. It is a mystery pill. They have no idea what's inside this pill. But there is something interesting. Some of the pills were tested and they showed high levels of superbacteria.
Superbacteria.
Superbacteria is typically a bacteria that cannot be killed with antibiotics. So if it's ingested by a human, it's very hard to kill it once it's inside your system.
It's like a virus.
Yeah, they're like antibiotic resistant. So is this some sort of bioterrorism attack?
Bioweapon?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to pass these out to civilians and get them sick on bacteria that are hard to treat. It's going to cause an outbreak. I mean, it's not going to kill the country, but it is going to cause problems. It would have been a very strange plan, though, which gave someone an idea. They test the pills for something else, and they finally come back positive. The pills were a match for humans. Human flesh. Powdered, concentrated, packed into neat little doses. The pills were made from powdered humans. There were even little hairs found inside the capsules. But where would you even get the raw material for the human flesh capsules? And that leads them to the very pressing question of, how many humans does it take to make 17,000 human flesh capsules? Suwon, South Korea is actually a really beautiful city. It's typically incredibly safe too. It's the place where Samsung has their huge facility, literally called Samsung Digital City, a city inside of a city. Employees get access to their own health services, facilities, kindergartens, bus systems, sports facilities, restaurants, like all the big tech zones. Suwon is relatively very safe. But in the span of a few years, something strange did happen. 150 women in Suwon mysteriously vanished.
When was this?
This was in like 2011.
That's very recent and
Yeah.
scary. What?
We'll get to it. Now, the energy in the tiny apartment in Suwon, South Korea is very weird. It feels disjointed. So you have two people inside the very gross, dingy apartment I was just telling you about, and they're staring at each other, just standing there. On one side, you have 42-year-old Oh Won, the owner of the apartment, and he's looking at 28-year-old, a woman named Kimmy. He's looking her up and down, like they just got back from a hot date and he just needs to play some jazz music to get the mood started. On the other hand, she's looking at him like he just grew a second head. He turns to her and repeats the question. I said, how much? Excuse me? How much? I'm going to give you $1,500. Is that okay? That's 10 times his rent. I mean, there's no way that she's going to say no, right? That's what O1 is thinking. Honestly, he's kind of getting pissed off that Kimmy isn't jumping up and down at this opportunity. It's starting to agitate him. Kimmy is staring at him like he's lost his freaking mind, and she's scanning the room behind him, scanning the door, the kitchen, looking for any sort of sharp object or weapon she can use, anything to defend herself. And he continues, come on, just tell me the price. That's probably the best you'll ever get offered, so play with me. Kimmy does not respond. First of all, she's not a sex worker, which I mean doesn't change anything. No is no. But also, she had just been kidnapped off the street. 5 minutes ago, the man had attacked Kimmy in the alleyway, put her in a chokehold, dragged her into his apartment. What is he even talking about right now? Instead of trying to reason with a man like this or even trying to understand what's going on, Kimmy decides to just make a run for it. She books it, trying to get past him and head straight for the door, but he reaches out his arm, grabs her, slams her down, and drags her into the bedroom. He throws her onto the bed and starts forcibly undressing her. He's licking her all over her face and chest area, and every time he would get near her, she would fight hard. She's pushing him away, scratching him so hard that there are chunks of his skin lodged between her fingernails, but it's like he doesn't even care. He doesn't even feel it. The only thing he feels right now is the overwhelming sensation to urinate. He always had to urinate before he has intimate relations. So he walks over to the restroom. Kimmy lunges for the bedroom door, slams it shut, and locks it. So in order for her to leave the apartment unit, the only exit would be past the restroom.
Oh, the restroom's outside of the bedroom.
Yes.
So she locks the bedroom door, like lock herself inside, or?
Inside the bedroom, because there's no way she can run past him to the front door. She's already tried it. It didn't work. So instead, it's easier for her to lock herself in the bedroom, and now she starts looking for an escape route. She could not have made it, again, past the bathroom. So she's looking for any sort of window, and this apartment is tiny. The window in the bedroom is tiny. It's a small fit, but maybe she can squeeze. So behind her, she's hearing slamming on the bedroom door, and she just needs to hurry. But before she can even get a limb out the window, the door to the room slams open. She gets thrown onto the ground. The man punches her twice, then another 3 times in the face. She's screaming, apologizing, pleading with the man, but he's not listening. He's just slowly unrolling duct tape. He's tying her arms together and then her legs, and he ties her up with so much duct tape she cannot move. She's screaming the entire time, screaming for help, telling him that it hurts, he's hurting her, that she's sorry, she won't do it again, until the very last little sound, and he covers up her mouth. In moments like this, you think, if someone could just hear someone else's screams, like a neighbor, right? Or someone, that would change things, right? Mm-hmm. Well, someone does hear Kimmy scream. There is another person inside that room. There's 20 other people, to be exact, inside that room.
What?
In the corner of the messy bedroom, there's a small light. Kimmy's phone. She had kicked it to the corner when he broke in through the door. 20 people were on the line, on a phone call, listening to Kimmy getting assaulted. This is the game of Are You Smarter Than a Police Officer? I'm going to tell you guys about a press conference that the police officers held.
Hold on, what? So was she able to call, like...
I think when he had kidnapped her, she was, I guess, on a call with other people. The entire time he had drugged her into her apartment, so these people overheard everything that was going on. That's what I'm assuming. That's what it sounds like. But I don't know.
Are you smarter than a police officer? I'm going to tell you guys about a press conference that the police officers held about a new case. And you tell me everything wrong with it, because there's a lot. April 2nd, 2012, the Suwon Police Department make an announcement. If you're just to read the news or quickly watch it on TV and you don't focus on exactly the words that they're saying, you might think that it sounds on par with the type of news that is typically released by investigative authorities, right? The police have made an arrest in a suspected murder and dismemberment case. The police report to the public that it all started the day before with an alarming, highly distressing 15-second long emergency phone call from a victim.
Okay.
At around
I forgot about
10:50
the title.
p.m., a woman called the emergency services line and she just starts screaming into the phone. She's not trying to be coherent because she's being actively attacked. She's just screaming at the top of her lungs, "I'm being sexually assaulted. I'm being dragged in by a stranger. Help me, please." Then the line cuts dead. She does not tell them where she is, what this man looks like, who this man is, who she is, nothing. So for 15 seconds, they hear nothing but her screaming, and then she hangs up. She hangs up, okay? The 112 operators are looking at each other like, okay, what the hell do we do? They have no idea where to even start looking because the call was so short, they couldn't trace it. We could try going to the cell tower location. That gives us at least a perimeter of where to search. But that's about it. That's all we have. I mean, we don't even know what the woman that we're looking for looks like or what she's wearing. We've got nothing. So they do what they can. They deploy all available police officers and they start meticulously scanning through, canvassing all the empty parks, construction zones, parking lots. Their whole police force is out there looking for this woman when they don't even know what she looks like. They comb through the residential areas, and because it's so late, they stated they didn't want to disturb the residents, so they would tiptoe up to the apartment doors or windows and slowly, ever so slightly, lean in so that their ear is practically touching the door and they would just listen. Shh. The woman on the phone was obviously very loud. If they heard anything suspicious, they would break down the door and charge in to save the caller. But most of the residential areas, they would put their ear up to the door and they wouldn't hear anything. So that means the woman must not be in that unit. Time is key here. They need to be efficient. They stayed at the press conference, even though every single police officer on the squad stayed up overnight. Not a single one of them got a wink of sleep that night. They could not locate the caller. Until the morning, the sun comes up. They're still out there in their smelly uniforms that they've been crawling around in all night, putting their faces up to random residential doors listening. And a woman comes up to them. She looks embarrassed. She asks them gently, "What are you guys in the neighborhood for? What are you doing?" "Ma'am, we're looking for a kidnapped woman likely assaulted by a man." The woman looks uncomfortable. "If I had just known, I didn't know. I mean, look, I saw a couple last night. They were fighting. Maybe it's them. I didn't know that that was the situation, obviously. Please, I mean, last night I saw them and I thought it was just like a married couple having a fight and I just try to stay out of their way and mind my own business." "Well, what were they fighting about?" Well, the man was dragging the woman into the building in a chokehold."
What?
And you thought it was a married couple? Were they calling each other honey, yobo, baby, 자기야? No. The woman was screaming, "Please help me." Like I said, I thought it was a married couple fight, so I stayed in my own lane and I minded my own business.
Bro, some people.
Okay, well, did you see where they went? Yes, they went into that apartment unit right there, the one with the greasy steel door. That's the one.
You're kidding me.
There is now a group of police officers standing in front of this dingy door, and it looks like the back door to a creepy warehouse that you don't ever want to be at. Are you sure this is the one that the woman pointed at? Yes, we double checked. It didn't look like anybody was home. They tried knocking on the door multiple times. "Suwon police, open up." One of the officers walks around to the window and there's just dark urine-scented stains on the exterior walls of the building. The window edges look like they're molding, like black fuzzy mold just ready to take over. The officer crinkles his nose, gets closer, and tries to poke around to see if he can get a good view into the unit through the window. He's scanning from left to right. Halfway through, his eyes go big. He's in there. He's here. There's someone in there. He's got a knife. The officers break down the door and they catch Ol1 holding a bloody knife. He's in the process of wrapping tiny pieces of thinly sliced flesh in plastic. He has sorted out pieces of meat into at least 14 separate plastic bags. Some of the plastic bags were found stuffed into his washing machine. And when the officers step into the bathroom, they find Kimmy's body. You know those videos of the fancy seafood shops where they get the shipment of a 300-pound tuna fish and they just start cutting into the tuna like a thin slice and let someone taste it? Kimmy was found kind of in that state. A lot of people call this the Suwon dismemberment case. However, she was not necessarily dismembered. He did not really break through much of her bones. She had been defleshed. Like deboned. Her flesh
Like
was...
he didn't touch the main bone.
Fillet.
He was slicing flesh from her body that was intact. It's not like he dismembered her and
Right.
then was deboning.
Right,
He was
right,
just
right.
cutting off the pieces of flesh
Right.
from her full body.
Like he's not breaking into small. The whole body still like there.
Yes.
It's just without the
Like her
flesh.
skeleton is practically just there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Now, the unsettling part of this is that typically killers, if they go down the dismembering route, they will dismember their victims. And then perhaps, I guess at that point, they might slice the flesh off. I don't think it's very typical. I'm not saying that any of this makes sense. Even the dismembering and killing victims, obviously, that doesn't make sense. But from a criminology standpoint, a lot of experts said it is very interesting.
Yeah, because the motive changed now. Like the
Yes.
intention is different.
Because dismemberment, typically the motive is disposal.
Yeah.
But he did not dismember her at all, just slicing flesh. Now, Oh Won-chun is sitting in the interrogation room of the Suwon Police Department. He's looking around, checking out the sturdiness of the chairs. Big budget. Oh Won tells the police, well, last night was just one of those nights. He tells them he doesn't like the idea of having orange peels in his trash. They're like, what are you talking about? Every day when Oh Won gets home from work, he eats dinner. That night, he had leftover boiled pork leg, and then he was downing 2 cups of super strong Chinese liquor, but he's not like blackout drunk or anything. This is how he's talking, really. Just tipsy. He's watching Chinese dramas, and maybe it was something in the scene of the movie. It starts inspiring him, and it just dawns on him. I know what I need to do. I need to eat an orange for dessert. He peels an orange, eats an orange while watching his little drama, but then realizes the orange peels, they have sugar. They're naturally very fragrant. Of course, bugs are going to come, so I wanted to throw them out and get a quick smoke break at the same time. So he goes outside for a quick smoke break. Owen starts walking them through the events of the night. The roads are empty, kind of chilly outside, maybe 40 degrees. Alcohol is making everything sweaty. So the cold air is actually kind of nice, refreshing. He walks outside, throws his bag of trash away and orange peels into the dumpster. He stands in the alleyway to finish smoking his cigarette. When, what the hell is your deal? He looks up and this girl, this 28-year-old young-looking girl had bumped into his shoulder in the alleyway. Clearly, she's not looking at where she's going because it's not even like he was moving. He's just standing there smoking his cigarette. And that's the victim? What happened? Owen said they shared a few words along the lines of, watch where the hell you're going. What, are you on your phone or something? Owen thought that the girl was going to apologize and back down or run away scared, but instead she's smirking. She's getting on her tippy toes, getting up in his face, full on cussing him out. It's setting him off. He starts screaming. She starts screaming back at him. And then Owen decides he can't take it anymore. He decides to grab her by the neck, throw her onto the ground, put her in a chokehold, and start dragging her into his apartment unit to assault her to teach her a lesson. The motive of the crime? Owen was angry at her for bumping into him in the alleyway. Also, he just had this overwhelming urge to essay her. What can he say? He did what he did. He continues on with his version of events and he states he drags her into the apartment, starts trying to assault her, but he can't get excited because he feels like he needs to pee. It's like, hold that thought. He runs into the restroom. He keeps the door open so he can keep watching Kimmy, but she ends up locking herself in his bedroom. He freaks out. He's got his pants pulled down. He's half running, half hopping to the bedroom door. The main problem is there's a window in his bedroom and he's scared she's going to try and jump out. So he beats down the door, grabs a roll of duct tape, starts tying her up. And he tells the police he tried. He tried really, really hard to essay her that night, but she fought back hard. So he just fell asleep with her in his arms, basically putting her in a chokehold to make sure she couldn't try and escape while he slept, which she tried, of course. But just as an extra insurance policy, he's just like half strangling her through the night. And then beep, beep, his alarm goes off. He jumps awake at the sound of his alarm, checks it, 5 a.m. And the first thing on his mind is essay. He tells the police that he looks over at Kimmy, who did not sleep all night. She looks terrified. He tries to essay her once more, but he claims that she's even crazier about fighting back this morning than she was last night. He thought that she'd be so exhausted. She's pushing her thighs together so hard, he decides there's nothing more that he can do. It's just very frustrating for him at this point. He kidnapped her, went through all of this, and can't even get what he wants. So he grabs one of those stainless steel wrenches that you see in the toolboxes. He grabs it from under the kitchen sink, marches into the bedroom, and whacks Kimmy on the head once. blood splatters onto his walls. He says he goes again, twice. There's blood everywhere. It's such a mess. He said that it's seeping through the blanket into the mattress now. And he's just thinking, okay, I gotta wrap her up in the blanket, drag her into the bathroom. He tosses her onto the bathroom floor. And again, it was just one of those shitty nights. He just needs to clear his head first so he can figure out what to do next. He starts putting his hands over his pockets. And he's like, wow, when one thing goes wrong, everything goes wrong. Where's his freaking lighter? So he finds a spare lighter. And now with this lit cigarette in his hand, his mouth is pursed, he's puffing out smoke. Owen walks back over to the restroom just to stare at Kimmy. He thought she's dead. But out of nowhere, her body starts shaking and convulsing like she's trying to get back up. He goes into the bedroom, grabs a scarf, and starts strangling Kimmy with it. He does not stop until she stops moving. By that point, he's done. He's red in the face, exhausted. He's sitting against the bathroom wall to regain some of that energy. And he's reaching into his pocket for another cigarette, but he just has this nagging feeling, like a strong paranoid feeling. What if she's still alive? So he gets up and he hits her again with the heavy steel wrench, maybe a few more times, just to be absolutely sure that she's dead, for peace of mind's sake. Once he's confident that she's dead, he claims to go into the kitchen, grab his favorite knife, a knife sharpener, and he's sharpening his knife, and he starts cutting up the victim's private parts in anger and spite. Then he starts the process of slicing off a layer of flesh one by one. He spent 6 hours trying to break down her body into smaller pieces. He said it was his first time killing, and he needed to find a way to dispose of her body. That is the story that Oh Won-chun tells the police. The story of why he felt he needed to kill and debone a woman into over 350 pieces because she bumped into his shoulder. The police report the events of the arrest to the public, and they state during their press conference, "We say this with great regret, but it was an investigation where we tried. We tried our best. We dispatched 35 detectives to investigate overnight, and we caught the killer in 13 hours. Unfortunately, it was the best we could do. It was just, ultimately, a tragedy." The police could do nothing but arrest the killer, which is exactly what they did. But I mean, beyond that, they can't force every citizen to be a law-abiding, moral, upstanding person, right? All they have was that 15-second 112 emergency call where the victim screamed into the phone. There was no description of the killer, no mention of the address, no name was given. All the victim had told them was, "I'd been sexually assaulted. I don't know who this man is. I don't know where I am." And essentially, the victim hung up. Did you catch all the parts that don't make sense? At first, netizens don't think anything is off about the police statements. They take it at face value. But a female netizen does bring up something interesting, just a passing comment, food for thought. I don't know if it's just me, but it just doesn't make sense to me that a woman would argue with a strange man in the middle of a dark alleyway at night. Maybe it's just me. I could understand more if it was in public in broad daylight, but in a deserted alleyway at night, I guess I just can't picture it.
Yeah.
I can't either.
Journalists also think
Can you?
I know. When she was explaining, I said that don't make sense.
Because even like last night, we was coming out the mall, and what you had told me, I was like, huh? Because the way your mind process things, and the way my mind process things, it's gonna be two totally different things. What you had said? Oh, you said you can't remember? You're a whole lie, y'all. We walking. Walking to the car, she said, "Go ahead, unlock the door because I don't feel like fighting tonight." I said, "Huh?" I'm like, "What you talking about?"
He said, "Why are you thinking like that?" I said, "I always think like that. I have to think like that if I'm by myself. I'm like always like on high alert when I'm by myself, especially at nighttime if I'm by myself.
I don't be thinking like that.
Like I'm just like always in the mind. Like let me make sure I everything's secured. I got everything I need, and make sure my shoes laced. Let me make sure I have on good shoes just in case I gotta kick. You know, I just be thinking about stuff. And I mean, it's not like I'm like living in like this I guess fear or like 24/7
situational.
Yeah, but I am very like I'm like
aware.
Always. I've tried for the most part as much as possible
To be kind of on high alert.
to be on high alert and aware of my surroundings and just in case.
Because normally me, I'm the one, especially how I dress on the outside, off camera. I'm the one when I'm walking, people out their doors. Hold on. Like, cause even like me, like I tell my mom, I know how I look. I tell C, I know how I look. I can't prevent how I look, but most people gonna lock their doors when you see me walking. It is what it is. I don't give a. I'm like, I'm not bothering you. I'm not worried about you. My head's always in my own space, and that's the reason. And I guess that's the reason why I don't think the way you think, or the way a lot of people might think, is because most places when people see me, I'm looked at as the threat first, and so I don't think as a like not as a victim like first per se, but you know.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
But I was like, see you with me, like you good, like
Just never know. Maybe it's a couple of them. You can't handle everybody by yourself. I don't know. It was just whatever. And I was tired. I was just, I just be saying stuff sometimes when I'm tired. But I do be like that though, especially if I'm by myself.
So back to this situation,
And I stand corrected of what you asked me, and I was like, oh, I guess she was on a conference call. I forgot what the title was. So she was able to call for help.
See, we beyond that part.
But no, but what I'm saying is, I feel like she could have been. I feel like I get that much. Like you didn't have much to go off of.
Yeah.
As far as like, but going and putting your ear to doors is not enough. Why are we not knocking on doors and trying to get people to come to the door? Maybe I would have ran into the young girl or the girl that said that she actually seen. Like I'm just like. Trying to think of things that maybe someone did see or hear something. Y'all probably would have, I get it's late, but this is someone's life.
We're not knocking on doors, asking people if they heard.
Have they heard anything or seen anything? You know what I'm saying? I get it's late. You don't want to wake people, but waking people and someone's life is in danger is apples and oranges.
By the time y'all made it there, the person screaming could be gone. So y'all not gonna hear screaming anymore. Right? Because when y'all walked up to his door, you didn't hear screaming.
And in this case, you definitely wasn't because he duct taped.
And he wasn't coming to the door. He was literally
in
there doing what he was already doing. Why I'm doing this? Why?
Okay, we'll get back into the video.
Normally I pour while we're recording.
Just get back into the video. Y'all. Sorry.
But it just don't like what y'all saying is true though.
Yeah.
For a woman, I don't think it's pitch black at night. For one, most women don't even try to engage with people when they're walking along by themselves.
I'm not even trying to make eye contact with you.
Let alone make contact with the male individual.
Right.
Especially when they're out and it just might be y'all two on the road.
You know what I'm saying?
So most of the time women are gonna avoid even trying to run into anyone. So an accident or bumping from a woman, that's more prone to happen in the daytime, her not being like maybe she in the phone, but at night that's very, very far in between. And and then the other woman talking about I thought it was America. Yo, she's screaming, yelling. Where's your antennas at?
And for me, I'm just like I get everyone's different, and I just mind my business. But it doesn't matter married or not. If someone's screaming for help,
that don't seem right.
But deserted alleyway at night. I guess I just can't picture it.
Yeah.
Journalists also think it's interesting. So they start poking around in the case, and there's just so many weird things. The police stated that there were 35 officers out there searching for the victim that night, but only 20 or so officers were even on duty that night. The whole canvassing the area story doesn't make sense either. If you really think about it, the police spent a lot of time patting each other's backs on how none of them got a wink of sleep while they searched for Kimmy. The whole crew was out there doing everything that they could. So clearly, the police are treating finding Kimmy as top priority. Mm-hmm. But they didn't think it was high priority enough to wake up a resident, ask them if they saw something.
Yeah.
The police are scrambling to save a life, but then tiptoeing in the bushes, putting their ear up to people's shh, don't wake anyone up. That is so weird. Very. And how are the police so easily believing this man's story? His motive that he killed Kimmy because she bumped into him on the street feels nonsensical. But journalists were also able to track down Kimmy's family, who remain anonymous, but they stated that doesn't sound like Kimmy at all. She wouldn't even cuss at someone that she knows, let alone a complete stranger in the dark alleyway. It's starting to feel like Olwan knew Kimmy's schedule, knew that she'd be walking home from work, and kidnapped her. It feels premeditated. But still, what does that have to do with the police, right? They wouldn't have been able to foresee something like that. The authorities also state that this is Olwan's first murder. It's his first murder, but he debones.
Nope.
Right when
Nope.
when
nope,
he said this
nope,
is my first, I'm like,
Nope.
there's
no way unless
Wait.
unless what is his occupation? What is his occupation to be able to fillet a? That's the only thing. Unless he does this, like been doing this as a career for 20 years, and so he's precision with it. No,
We'll see.
Someone into over 350 pieces. A professor of criminology weighed in on that detail and stated, first-time offenders, they try to dispose of the body as quickly as possible. If it was just for transportation and disposal, he would have cut the body into large chunks. The fact that he cut the body into that many pieces, or really deboned her, means that he was excited about cutting the body, which suggests that this was not the first time. You do not escalate to this point the first time. Other netizens commented, you don't just do that for 6 hours unless you're getting something out of it. It takes so much physical stamina, time, and effort. He had to constantly use the knife sharpener in between cuts to sharpen his bloody knife and keep going. Another comment reads, there's just no way. I mean, no way he did that for the sole purpose of transporting the body. You just don't do something like that on a whim. If purely disposing of the body was the goal, again, he would have cut her body into big pieces. The skill...
like even JD, I'm gonna just say that if you're in America, you know what I'm talking about. He has plethora of bodies before he even got to the part of dismembering and trying to do what he was trying to do. He did it multiple times before.
Yeah.
Nah. Like I said, unless he was unless he like a butcher type thing. No way, bro.
That it would have taken to do something of this caliber. It is not something that you just casually wake up and intuitively do. One butcher even commented, I've been doing this for 20 years, being a butcher. And I don't know, considering that there's 360 pieces packed evenly into 14 separate plastic bags is just very bizarre to me. Even if it was an accidental, unpremeditated murder, the cuts and how the flesh is cut so thin, it just doesn't make sense. The whole version of events presented by the police just does not make sense. But what incentive would they have to lie? It's very difficult to find a statistic on average of how often someone views explicit videos online. Some people have never seen pornography. They have no plans to watch it, right? Other people compulsively seek it out and spend hours every single day watching it. But I think it's safe to say that on average, the normal person does not look up videos 26 times in a single day. Owen likes to start his days with explicit videos. While he's getting ready for work, it's playing in the background. While he's standing at the bus stop waiting for the bus around other people, he will watch it with headphones on the way to the construction site where he works. Then when he gets home from work, he's going to...
Construction worker. Yeah. So that whole butchering thing ruled out. No way, no how. This is not his first time. He has did this several times. To get this precise with it, no.
Look again about 26 more times for the perfect video. If it's good enough, he might even considering adding it to his collection of 700 videos that he already has. But if it's not, he'll just skip on to the next. Owen has an explicit video addiction, but he's also very much into sex work. There's a saying in Korea, there is no sex work in Korea except where there is sex work in Korea. Meaning sex work is technically illegal, but it's also a billion-dollar business. There's a few different types of establishments offering such services. Whiskey bars. You go there, you don't get full-on intimacy, but you still get very beautiful women to sit and sip on whiskey with you. It's kind of like a hostess bar. A bottle of whiskey is going to set you back a few $100s. There's no touching allowed, just talking. Just emotional comfort. Just ego inflation. Kiss rooms. You pay to pretend to have a girlfriend for a few hours. They will snuggle you, cuddle with you, kiss you, and act warmly to you like you're their boyfriend. There's very light touching allowed over the shirt perhaps, but nothing beyond that. Then there's something called barber shops. I don't think you want to get a haircut here. It's definitely a seedier place to be, but you typically get taken into a dark, grimy back room behind a barber shop, and they will unenthusiastically help you arrive at your destination. Typically, it's older, less attractive women that have been doing this perhaps since longer than you've been born. Then you have window shops. These used to be really big in Itaewon. There was even a place in Seoul called Hooker Hill, which I think is completely inappropriate, but that is what it was called. You walk down the road and there are girls in tiny glass boxes, usually in short, tight miniskirts, trying to get your attention. It's like a cubicle. It's not even really a shop. It's just like a glass box. They try to get your attention, and the only thing inside of there is a stool and a makeup vanity. And it's very clear that these girls are being exploited because their pimp is usually standing right outside their glass box. But I guess you could choose the person you would like, walk into their glass box. They have a little curtain that they draw, and they try to get you out of there as quickly as possible. There's also an establishment called Everything Else Rooms. They're kind of like barbershops, everything but full-on intimacy. You will arrive at the destination, but you're not going to have full intimacy, and it's less grimy. Some Redditors say these are sometimes even better than full-blown intimacy establishments, and they usually have very attractive women working at these locations. Then you have massage parlors. This is full-blown intimacy, and I don't know how true this is, but it's been rumored that a lot of them have secret tunnels and hallways set up so that if there's a police raid, you can get quickly out of there. There's also another rumor in South Korea that police will bust sex work establishments for show. They'll actually call the establishment to get rid of all the clients, and then they'll come bust it, and then it'll proceed under a new business name typically. Then you have establishments called opisthels, which is like a modern version of a brothel. There are apartment buildings where many of the apartments are rented out by rings of workers. So you walk into the apartment building and each apartment unit is set up like a girl's personal apartment. Highly doubtful that anyone actually lives in this building. I guess it's just part of the fantasy. They say it feels like you're walking in as their boyfriend. You're walking into their personal apartment and there is full-blown intimacy. It's stated that they're typically not in a rush to get you out of there because it's more of a repeat client-based system. Then you have something called delivery services. You walk into a love motel, ask the front clerk, "Can I get a delivery girl's number?" They will typically divert you to an organization that sends you a random girl to the motel room door. Then there are variations of room salons, karaoke bars, regular bars. It's very similar to hostess bars. You walk in, you choose a girl that you'd like to hang out with, but depending on the establishment, you can get either full service or almost full service. And that can cost you anywhere between sometimes $100, $200, the really good ones, thousands of dollars. Like an hour. And there's even something called 바카스 ladies. So 바카스 is this famous energy drink sold in Korea, and you really only see older men drinking it. So 바카스 ladies are workers in their 60s. Sometimes they're in their 80s. They usually solicit older men that play chess at the parks. Yes. But allegedly, and I don't know how or what this means for society and the social context of things, but there has been a rise in younger men, guys in their 20s, 30s, 40s, actively seeking out 바카스 ladies. Yeah, a lot of the clientele for these establishments are married men. And Oh Won-chun was an avid client for this work, and he was also a married man. He has a wife and a child back in China. He's got a long-term Chinese girlfriend in South Korea that was on and off living in that grungy apartment, but he would spend 20% of his monthly income on work every single month. He would tell his friends that he really liked the idea. It was amusing to him that he could get intimacy by just paying for it. Each service would cost him about $100, and he would throw in another $10 for the woman's taxi ride back home. So maybe the police were right. The man is just unhinged, addicted to abusing women sexually, and decided to debone and deflesh the victim in the most humiliating, gruesome way possible. 8 journalists from a newspaper called 동아일보, one of the largest newspapers in Korea, they decide to investigate the whole story. They go back to the neighborhood where Oh-won lived and they try to retrace the steps, each version of events. They're rereading what the netizens are saying and they're thinking, yeah, nothing's adding up either. They start knocking on every single apartment unit nearby. Knock, knock. Hi, we're journalists from the 동아일보 and we're wondering if we could just get a moment of your time. The journalists went to over 317 locations, spoke to over 137 residents, and only 4 out of all of them remembered seeing the police out and about that night. The others were like, the police were searching this area. I was awake. I was outside. I looked out my window. I actually went up to pick up a delivery and I saw nothing. Most of the residents just said, if the police were searching, we had no clue about it. The journalists report their findings to the public, and the police, they respond, okay, fine, yes. We could have done a bit better. Of course we could have. Of course anyone can. But again, the call was only 15 seconds long and did not mention a specific location. We dispatched a lot of detectives to investigate overnight. Maybe it wasn't 35 because we only had 20 on call that night. But we did catch the killer within 13 hours of the call being placed.
But why lie?
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it is the best we, or really anyone else in our shoes, could have done without hindsight. The interviews could have been conducted better, yes, but we searched the area around the scene reported by the victim. But because it was late, we were unable to knock on every door and search. The public and journalists agree. Okay, well, if the police have nothing to hide, just release the 112 call. I mean, that's just going to clear everything up, right? Let us hear the 15 seconds and we'll decide for ourselves if you did a good job or not. There are some rules when you're an emergency operator, but there is one thing that you're taught. In this line of work, seconds are the difference between life and death. There's no real guideline on how to have a good response because every single call is different and they need to be handled accordingly. One 911 operator said, people are calling you on the absolute worst days of their lives. The stress response is varied. Some people will call you awful names, or some of them will just sob so powerfully into the phone that you cannot understand them, or they will scream until their voices go out. They have no clue how to tell you where they are. They have no idea how to even explain what's wrong. Another operator said, stress. You've either got what it takes or you don't. The difference between stress in this job and stress in any other job is that if you have a shitty day here or if you freeze under pressure here, people will literally die. They said the moment you pick up that call, you have no idea what's on the other side. It could be a prank call. A help me, my mom's not breathing, or my baby is choking, or please, my husband is stabbing me. In a matter of seconds, it's up to the dispatch to get all the information that they need. Where's the call coming from? Where are they? Are there weapons involved? What does the suspect look like? What exactly happened? The person on the other line is probably panicked, could be actively dying, and you need to get as much information as possible. Using short words and phrases, you got to calm them down, but also, okay, John, stay with me. I need you to tell me if your wife's chest is moving up and down. Can you tell if she's breathing? Can you check for me? If they don't know their location, can you tell me what you see outside? Can you see any road signs? But the number one unspoken rule that doesn't even need to be voiced is you have to do everything to save a life when you can. The police released the 112 call transcript from Kimmy the night of her murder. 911, what's your emergency? There's a woman's voice on the other line and she's half whispering, half trying to hold in her screams. It sounds like she's doing everything to not scream and cry into the phone, which is what she wants to do, but she's fighting it to stay calm. She's not hysterical.
Is it a transcript or is it the actual audio?
So it's a transcript. I believe one of the major news networks was able to hear the actual audio and they recreated it using the transcript. So we do have an audio version of it. However, that is not Kimmy's voice.
So they didn't release to the public. Got it.
Now, they did release the transcript to the public though.
Okay.
And then the audio, the recreated audio is released to the public.
Okay.
The woman is trying to tell the authorities that she's in danger and she needs help. She's speaking clearly. Hello, I'm at this house before the Mokgol playground and I'm getting essayed right now. The Mokgol playground? Yes, right. I'm at the house before the Mokgol playground, but I don't know exactly which house I'm in. In Chidong neighborhood? Wow. Yes, just past the Chidong Elementary School on the way to Mokgol playground. Okay, I'm going to try and locate your phone right now. Kimmy sounds relieved. She lets out a cry and politely responds, "네," which is like a combination of yes and like almost a thank you. Wait, ma'am, did you say that you're getting essayed right now? Yes. And you don't know your exact location? Yes, I don't know exactly where I am. It's past Chidong Elementary, a little past the elementary on the way.
I thought y'all said 15 seconds. This is longer than 15
you
seconds.
said?
This is a whole conversation.
Not even facts. Longer than 15 seconds, and y'all have
Location.
Y'all have a good bit of information.
To pinpoint location.
Y'all said y'all didn't have a place. Y'all didn't have a location. It was 15 seconds. It was just
all we had was a
screaming.
Tower, cell tower.
Miss me with that.
Bruh,
y'all felt that, girl.
I ain't gonna say what I really want to say.
To the Mokgol playground. I've locked myself in his bedroom. Who is doing this to you? I don't know. This Ajashi, please. Hurry up, please. Side note, 아저씨 means old man. In this context, the way it's being used as a description, literally an old man. So clearly she does not know this man. She states, I don't know this old man. Well, who? What do you mean you don't know how do you know the man? I don't know him. He's a stranger. Then how did you get locked in his room? How did you get into the house? I just locked myself in the room. I locked the door just now. You locked the door?
It sounds like to me, 911 operator don't believe her. That's what it sounds like to me. What about you?
Yeah. Accent like just somebody.
I locked the door when he left the room for a minute. Can you please tell me again? Where did you enter from?
This is 15 seconds?
Just wait. At this point, it seems that the officer on the line is starting to get frustrated. He has all the other officers pick up the phone and listen to the conversation with him. Okay, so side note. At this point in South Korea, all 112 calls were dispatched to the local police station. So the police at each police station were also trained to receive emergency calls and respond to them quickly and efficiently. 20 police officers in the station pick up their phones and are now listening to this woman getting assaulted. 20 of them hear the slamming of the door, whatever locked door Kimmy was behind, someone slamming into it, and they're listening. And then all 20 of them sit there and listen to Kimmy frantically begging for help as a man breaks into the room. She's begging for her life. She's screaming, I beg you, please. I'm sorry, 아저씨, please, please. I'm so sorry. Please, this is my fault. I'm sorry.
Wow.
The man in the room with Kimmy is not talking. He's not making any noise. All they can hear is ksh, ksh, the sound of duct tape being unrolled.
Okay, so they're listening to this?
Yes.
Okay.
For a while, the 20 police officers say nothing. Then one of them opens their mouth while Kimmy is still screaming. Hello? Can you tell me the address again?
Oh my god.
Hello?
What?
Hello?
저기요, 지금 성폭행 당하신다고요? 성폭행 당하고 계신다고요? 네네. 들어갈 때 다시 한 번만 알려줄래요? 잘못했어요. 여보세요. 주소 다시 한 번만 알려주세요.
For 1 minute and 20 seconds, Kimmy is screaming out in pain, begging for forgiveness, and then the line goes quiet. Kimmy hangs up. Time is a very interesting thing because sometimes we perceive time to be moving slower or faster depending on what we're doing, but it is still a very objective measurement. 60 seconds will always be 60 seconds. Even to someone, if it feels like 90 seconds or it feels like 15 seconds, 60 seconds is 60 seconds, right? So the police are trying to say, well, remember how we said it was 15 seconds? It was actually 1 minute and 20 seconds. The phone call that the police released is 5 times longer than what they stated it originally was. And now the public has 5 times the questions. Why would you lie and say it was 15 seconds when it wasn't? I mean, that doesn't even make sense. And first of all, didn't the police say that she never gave any sort of address? In the release transcript, she doesn't tell them the exact location. Fine. But she does get as close as she can. She clearly tells them she...
Most people who are taken can give you a physical address. I'm not looking for locate street, locate at, okay, that's the number. Okay, remember that. No, they are trying to, at most, see if they can pinpoint and locate something that looks familiar. They're not looking for street. I'm near this school. I know where this school is. Now I can give you an easier direction.
Right.
I can't believe this bullshit.
Near the elementary school in the direction of the playground. It's not exact, but it's pretty damn close. She basically gave them a scope of a few blocks to search and find her. With her description and some critical thinking skills, the police could have narrowed down their search to a 2 to 3 block radius. She practically pointed to a map, drew a big red circle for the police officers, and told them, I'm in here. But the police on the phone, instead of asking her questions that can narrow her location down even more, asking what kind of building she's in, what floor of the apartment unit is it, if there's anything she can see out the window, what kind of stove does the kitchen have, do you remember any characteristics of the building, what color is the building, they just scream into the phone vague, frustrating questions of, where are you? Hello? How do you know this man? Side note, Kimmy was incredibly accurate with her information. She was trapped in a house that was 264 feet away from the elementary school, about 105 steps, basically 1 block away. She was also just a 7-minute walk away from the police station.
7 minutes from
7 minute
these people,
walk.
these
Yes.
cops.
7 minute walk.
7
So
minute walk.
if they got in a car and literally drove in a, they could have probably located her in 5 minutes. Because if a 7 minute walk is what,
Yeah.
about a minute drive. Literally run out, get in the car. Literally. Because I'm trying to remember, like, when I be walking, like, what's a 7 minute walk for me? That's like, that ain't that far, bro.
Wow. Wow.
It's not far at all. It's like a minute drive. And it was in the middle of the night, so no traffic at all.
Nope.
No other pedestrians out either. For real.
Yep.
Man, how can y'all go to home and sleep at night?
Yes.
So that means they could have gotten there within minutes.
Within minutes. Also, why are the police still talking when the perpetrator comes into the room? They're actively putting the victim's life in even more danger.
That's true
Because
as well.
Kimmy, later we find out that she did throw the phone to the other side of the room. But if he was not so busy with his duct tape, he could have easily heard them and realized that she called 112 and felt the need to kill her to cover his tracks. I mean, there's all these questions, and the police are just evading every single one of them that's thrown at them. They don't even answer a simple question of, why did you lie about the length of the phone call? The police just argue, yes, the call is actually longer than the 15 seconds we originally reported it was, but it still does not change anything or really matter in the long scope of things because 1 minute and 20 seconds is still not enough time to track and find Kimmy's location in time to save her.
Yes.
But since we're on that topic, the original phone call is actually 7 minutes and 30 seconds long.
You fucking, bruh. You fucking lying. You are fucking lying. That's long enough where they could have walked their ass in that direction and found her. You are or they could have swarmed the fucking area with police sirens. He probably would have fucking panicked his own damn self.
Wow.
No fucking way, bro. I don't. This don't even sound like real life, bro.
What you said, it really does.
This can't be real.
Like this.
Track and find Kimmy's location in time to save her. But since we're on that topic, the original phone call is actually 7 minutes and 30 seconds long.
What?
Yeah. So the call went from 15 seconds to they released a transcript and then it was recreated into audio that ended up being 1 minute and 20 seconds. When they're asked about, hey, why did you lie that it was 15 seconds? They say, well, first of all, it doesn't even matter. But since you're wondering, the real phone call is actually 7 minutes and 36 seconds long.
What?
Trust me, you're not missing anything. The rest of the 6 minutes or so consist of Kimmy screaming for her life and screaming out in pain. That's what the police are saying. They stated that they didn't think that they should be including all of that for the world in consideration for Kimmy's family.
Boy,
Which
y'all didn't
Kimmy's
consider her
family said,
at
release
all.
the tape. Release the full call. They said, we don't trust the police and release the full phone call. The call went from being 15 seconds to 1 minute and 20 seconds to now 7 minutes and 36 seconds. And Kimmy's family wanted all 7 minutes and 36 seconds to be released to the public. Because remember, the police said the 6 minutes, it's just of Kimmy screaming for her life. But with all of the public, the reporters, everybody on them, they are forced to release the full transcript. Now, a few minutes in to the unheard 6 minutes, the police on the other side, they're talking to each other. And the tone is casual while Kimmy is screaming in the background. Wow. They're not even talking in a hushed tone. They're not on mute. They just say, is she at the playground? I could have sworn she said that she was at the playground. I think she said it was a house. She said it was a house, no? Wait, someone tell me the address again? While they're discussing very slowly, conversing about what to do, Kimmy is crying and her cries are getting weaker and weaker and she's barely audible by the end. It's clear that she's been tied up and a piece of tape has been placed over her mouth. She's unable to even scream at this point. And the police knew that, which remember, the police are putting up their ears to doors to check residential homes. But that's moot point because they can barely hear Kimmy over the phone. So how are they going to hear her through doors? After 7 minutes and 30 seconds of listening to Kimmy screaming, one of the officers turns to the other and he is heard saying, I think they know each other. I hear the man's voice. It sounds like a married couple fighting. Then
You're
another...
shitting me.
No. Then another officer in a frustrated tone says, let's just hang up. And the line goes dead. The police hung up on the victim. The police stated the call was 15 seconds.
I thought,
They lied about everything.
bro, they said she hung up.
They lied about which that alone, I was like, how did she?
And she
Anyway.
threw the phone over to the.
Anywho,
Y'all said and move the hell on with you. Wow.
I think they know each other. Well, clearly they don't. She already stated that they did not.
But also, she's screaming.
If they knew each other, then she 9 times out of 10 would know where she was at to give you an exact address. She don't even know the man. She can't even give you his name. What? Oh, my goodness. Some people are just so incompetent. I just do not get it.
That's a whole police force.
One job.
That's a whole police force too.
The entire everyone.
That was
From top to bottom.
Like, if you got 1 or 2 on the police force, I'd be like, man, y'all got to do something about that. The whole police force. What are we doing?
Exactly.
Until the victim hung up. The police stated the call was fine. 1 minute and 20 seconds until the victim hung up. The truth is the call was 7 minutes and 36 seconds until the police hung up.
So, like, obviously it wasn't a couple's fighting.
No.
So why did they say that, you think?
I think they're lazy. That's what a lot of netizens and Koreans think. They're just lazy. They think she's going to be essayed and released, and they don't really.
Or to take the responsibility off themselves. Instead of saying, we hung up, which can now, I don't know, this is a whole different country. But I just can only speak in America. If they've come out and say, we hung up, that's a big-ass lawsuit. That's legal responsibility. So I don't know how they do over there in their country. I can't speak on that. But a lot of reason why they try to cover up themselves a lot of times is for legalities as far as financial aspect. Because most definitely, if this was to happen in America, lawsuit. And I'm talking about the biggest lawsuit you're going to ever know about. Because that's what it should be. And it should be taken out of the officers' pockets. Y'all got to work now without pay. Y'all can't even go get hired nowhere else.
They care much about essay.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very likely that Kimmy risked her life to throw her phone across the room to keep the police online while O1 attacks her because she believed the longer she stayed on the phone, the easier it would be for the police to track her phone's location and they would come and save her. She trusted the police. All hell breaks loose after this phone call is released. Netizens are ripping into the police demanding answers. Oh, if it's a domestic call, you don't think that she would know her address?
Exactly.
Others were confused. Wait, so if a man and women are fighting, it's automatically a domestic dispute? And if so, then what? You don't care? It's fine because it's his girlfriend or his wife. He can do whatever he wants to her? Some people were just straight up mocking the police. Hello, this is 112. Yes? You're getting assaulted? What's the address? Wait, I'm sorry. Who's the person doing this? Wait, he's got a knife? He's stabbing you? Is it a sashimi knife or an ordinary knife? Hello? Another one just bluntly put it, fried chicken delivers faster than the police. The police still have the audacity after all of this to state, yes, they lied every step of the way over and over again. However, even if they had her location, it would be too late. They would not have been able to save her, and that's on Oh Won-chun, the killer, not them. One detective even argued, 13 hours is pretty fast, considering that even if we had found the victim or arrived at the scene earlier, she would have already been dead. 13 hours is fast.
What? She was alive the whole time.
Did you catch the lie?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh Won told the authorities the night he was arrested that he tried to essay Kimmy at 5 a.m. So yeah, he did keep her alive for 6 hours. He spent another 6 hours defleshing her. But had the police found her in 6 hours, which seems easy, they could have saved her. And for those 6 hours, she very likely thought that the police were coming to save her. They just needed a little bit more time. In Korea, it's typical.
And yeah, most definitely they could have pinpointed her location if they did not hang up the phone.
Exactly.
For 2 to 3 forensic pathologists to perform an autopsy. But for this case, the body was so badly mutilated that they needed 14 different forensic pathologists. A forensic pathologist working on the case said, "It was so horrible, I couldn't even open my eyes to look at the body at first. They left only the bones as if they're slaughtering livestock." Another said, "All the flesh had been basically peeled off until the bones were exposed. I couldn't eat for 2 days after that." There were even some speculations that Oh-won started the deboning process while Kimmy was alive. Do you know how much you're worth? But even if your bank account has a certain balance, most of you guys are at least worth $250,000. If you have a functioning kidney, both functioning kidneys, and a well-working heart, all in, your body could be disassembled bit by bit, piece by piece, and sold, and you'd probably be worth $250,000. There are 3 distinct markets where you can buy things from: the white market, the gray market, and the black market. The white market is the legal market. You go to the store, you pick up a rotisserie chicken, and that's the white market. Transactions are typically recorded and taxed by the government. And then you have the gray market. The best way to describe the gray market is resale. It's not illegal. It's just if you purchase a pair of sneakers through a drop on Nike, you get them on the white market. Then you turn around and sell them online. That's the gray market. Nike did not authorize this distribution channel, but it's not illegal. It's just the gray market. Then there's the black market. The black market is straight up illegal sales, unauthorized sales of weapons, guns, drugs, the sale of stolen or counterfeit illegal items. But there is also the red market. It is a subset of the black market, the buying and selling of humans, human organs, tissues, body parts. And most of it is just to be used by another person. Blood can save someone else's life on the operating table. You can do kidney, liver, even lung transplants. Eyes, you can lose your sight in order for someone else to gain theirs. Even your hair can be made into a wig to be worn. The ligaments that keep your bones together, you can actually have them scraped off of your bones and implanted to someone else's so they can recover from their injuries quicker. The red market is organ trade, but there is a section of even the red market that deals with dead bodies. They do not care for the organs as much as they do the meat, because human meat is what they want. From a nutritional standpoint, some have argued that human flesh has a unique nutrient profile that closely matches the needs of other humans. So I guess the idea being, if you're consuming it, perhaps it's more nutritious than any other type of meat. It seems like most of the time, they won't just sell human meat as flesh, but they will dehydrate human flesh, pulverize it down into a powder, to be sold like a vitamin pill, a supplement to be taken. Experts stated that some of these pills have been made by getting dead bodies, chopping them into small pieces, drying them on stoves, residential stoves, because it's illegal, till they dehydrate, and then pulverized. Again, that still does not answer why, though.
So this is what those pills you're talking about?
Yes.
But then you say there's also what, super bacteria is in there?
Yes, because humans have bacteria in them, and there's super bacteria that did not die in there.
Whoa.
Now, a lot of the reason that people might take these pills is something called medical cannibalism. It is the belief that if the human body is able to heal itself, why can't another human body heal mine? The theory is interesting until you start breaking it down. And side note, before anybody has any strange ideas to get racist about it, medical cannibalism can be traced back to ancient Rome. They used to drink the blood of wounded gladiators because they thought it would cure conditions like epilepsy. If it were a really bad case of epilepsy, they would even consume the wounded gladiator's liver. So blood at one point was also seen to be a very powerful elixir. It said that fresh, warm human blood still possessed the soul of the deceased. So gladiators, they're known for being very strong and powerful. And so if you drink their flesh, you're going to get that physical strength and become physically strong. But if you wanted to be smart, you would find an intellectual, kill them, and drink their blood. Yeah. I guess you could say it's the origins of you are what you eat. So if someone had a headache or an issue with their head, perhaps a mental illness, medical cannibalistic practitioner might recommend powdered skull capsules, which by the way is completely illegal in most countries and is incredibly dangerous because again, super bacteria, because more often than not, there's no regulations on how the skulls are powdered. And ethically speaking, we don't know how they get these skulls. They might not even be sterilized. There's so many reasons why this is a bad idea. But disclaimer aside, some people said if you have vision problems and nothing you could do to help with it, yeah, you could eat a whole bag of carrots every day. Nothing changes. They might recommend consuming human eyes. The theory being if your eyes cannot heal themselves, maybe another person's eyes can heal yours. Back then, it was actually considered, in some parts of the world, considered customary for children to let their parents consume their meat. Okay, when I say back then, I'm talking like 1,000 years ago. There was a dynasty in China specifically, but if your elderly parents were getting physically weak, you would give them a small sliver of your youthful flesh to consume to give them a reboot, almost, a little boost of energy. You would tie your thigh and arm tightly with a piece of cloth, use a sharp knife, and slice off a piece of flesh, tiny bit, not enough to like take off your whole arm. And then you would quickly throw it into a bowl of soup, heat it up, and serve it to your elderly parents.
What?
I don't know. I'm such a strong believer in placebo because apparently it worked enough so that people started going all the way with it. And some believed that eating a child's heart would get you as close to immortality as possible, which started a whole trade globally. Not a big trade. This is also 1,000 years ago, by the way, of teenagers being kidnapped so that their hearts and livers could be harvested and fed to the elites. Yeah.
Isn't there like the rumors of like what was it, like Pedo Island? What's his name?
Jeffrey Epstein, yeah.
Wasn't there the whole thing about that too, eating?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess these conspiracies, most conspiracies do get inspired or do get passed down from different things. Maybe this is one of those. Now, sometimes they would literally cut open a young girl's chest, dig out her heart, and like take it home to enjoy. It's a lot. It is a thing that exists, medical cannibalism. It's not prevalent, it's not everywhere, but it does happen from time to time. Oh-Won's trial was centered around the idea that he did not kill Kimmy for the motive of essaying her like he claimed, since he never actually essayed her. Kimmy's brother argued, based on the killer's size of being nearly twice as large as Kimmy, if that was truly his motive, he would have done it. He would have essayed her. So the family believe, and many netizens believe, he's lying about his whole motive. His real motive was that he kidnapped her for the human meat trade, and perhaps he tried to essay her at one point, but it wasn't working, and that wasn't his real motive. He needed to get her flesh instead. In support of the theory, it's argued her flesh was meticulously mutilated over the period of 6 hours. Her organs were left intact. The way her body was defleshed feels more like butchering. The way she was defleshed into sliced thin pieces and portioned out, it's almost like she's being placed into packages, and also thin slices are easier for dehydrating. Netizens also argue the fact that he sliced every other part of her body except her face and calves, so knee down, that feels intentional. Let's say you get off actually on the sick pleasure of deboning someone, because that's what a lot of criminologists were trying to explore. Why not go for the face or the calves? The face especially, it's probably the most visually depraved thing you can do. And would a sexual deviant who wants to get off on something like this not want to do that? Is it because there's not enough fat on the face to make it worthwhile to cut? And it's hard to cut into uniform slices? Also, the calf part, even on cows, it's called beef shank. And the cut is known to be particularly tough. And it's very lean meat with a significant amount of connective tissues. So the stringy bits in the meat, it's hard to break down. You got to tenderize beef shank for hours for it to be good. Additionally, there are a ton of odd things that also don't make sense. Oh-Won made about $1,300 a month doing manual labor. When he was arrested, he had already saved $5,000 in his account. He traveled back and forth from China, where he's from. He's Korean Chinese. So that's like me being Korean American. He's ethnically Korean, but citizen-wise, he's Chinese. Now, he would visit China once or twice a year. He would send his wife and children money. Over the period of 4.5 years, he sent them over $50,000.
What? Wait, 2 years, 50,000? That's more than he made.
4.5 years.
Oh, 4.5 years. Still.
It's still almost
It's
a
almost
lot
the
of.
majority of his income.
And he also spent money, 20% of his income every month on sex workers.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
One netizen commented, wait, let me get this straight. If he worked for 25 days on average per month for 10 months a year, minus the winter because, you know, that's construction, he would earn maybe at most with high season 17,000 a year. So how can he send 8,900 per year to China and still purchase sex and still have 6,300 left over in his bank account? However, the prosecutors could find no incoming transactions that did not look legitimate. But I mean, I don't think anyone is going to be PayPaling someone for human flesh. Owan also had much sharper tools at his disposal. He had a saw, electric drills inside of his apartment unit, all of which would have been much easier if he was trying to dismember and dispose of Kimmy's body. But instead, he chose a kitchen knife that he would stop every 30 minutes to 45 minutes to sharpen. Conveniently, Owan also deleted all of his past phone chat logs, his text messages, his phone calls from the past 2 months. Deleted them. He didn't delete any of the explicit videos or evidence that he's engaging in sex workers with, even though that's illegal, but he deleted his phone call log and chat logs. Why? When the judge asked him why, he just responded, I just would make calls without any special reason, so. Many netizens believe prison is less scary than whoever he might be working with. And if he was the reason that they were caught, maybe it wouldn't be good for him. They think that there's a whole human meat trade going on.
Oh, they're saying it might be
It's
better
bigger
to
than
just
him.
leave him out there and then he will get killed by the...
No, it's like for Owan, it might be better for him to just be in prison than to accidentally snitch on everyone in the alleged human meat trade that he's allegedly a part of. It's like, would you rather turn on El Chapo or just go to prison for a few years?
Go to prison.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So for him, he decided that's better.
Because why else would he delete all those chat logs and text messages? It just seemed very strange. Even the victim's family stated, we believe the motive for the crime might be connected to the human meat market. Owan could have killed our sister to supply human meat. It does not appear the motive to be a sexual crime or just murder itself. It seems like it was much more than just murder. The court determined that even though the motive for the crime is not clear, it is highly likely that the defendant mutilated the body for the purpose of using it for an unknown reason, aka human meat trafficking. The judge stated, the defendant shows no signs of remorse, even if the death penalty is inhumane punishment that strips a human being of his life. We have no choice but to hold him accountable for what he did. He shows no remorse or possibility of correction. The means and methods to the murder were cruel and grotesque. The defendant took the victim's dignity after attempting to essay her twice, and then he desecrated her corpse by slicing her flesh off bit by bit. This is a crime against humanity, one that shakes the foundations of society and cannot be tolerated. Judging by the way the corpse was found, it appears that the motive was potentially to provide human flesh from a corpse or for other illicit purposes and not simply essay. The basis of that being the fact that Owan spent 6 hours dismembering the body. If his goal had been to dispose of the body, he likely would have attempted to minimize the time spent dismembering. Additionally, the regularity of size and shape in the excised portions, as well as the careful carving of the kitchen knife when Owan had a saw and other instruments readily available, and the fact that the portions of the roughly equal-sized meat were then divided into plastic bags, this all leads the court to believe that there was clearly a different motive than just essay and murder.
Wow.
To that, Owan denies all the allegations, and he states, I will be filing an appeal because of the false allegations that I sought out human flesh. I only deleted my phone records before committing the crime because I feared that my friends might see my text messages suggesting that I purchased sex, which would be embarrassing. Which is funny because he's got all those business cards and like all these things everywhere. I earned the extra income for my family by working hard with my father in China, not in South Korea, so that's why there are no records. June 15th, 2012, the court sentenced Owan to death. He appealed the court's verdict, and October 18th, 2012, it was commuted to a life sentence. Yeah. They could not prove that he was selling flesh for medical cannibalism. But one netizen commented, it's hard to say definitively if Owan was selling human flesh, but even if he didn't sell human flesh, he deserves the death penalty for his cruelty. Another person commented on the verdict, the method of the crime itself was so brutal, there is no trace of hesitation, embarrassment, nervousness. This is a person who has given up on being a human being. Another netizen stated, the ruling saved him twice, but killed the victim's families twice. There are other people who do not believe Oh-won killed Kimmy for human meat trade. They believe that he's just a depraved psychopathic killer and that everyone else just kind of ran with these rumors. But regardless, they believe that his lack of remorse coupled with his isolated social life, almost no strong interpersonal relationships, he is at high risk of offending again. There was a strong theory that he was a serial killer, perhaps that he wasn't involved in the meat trade, but he was a serial killer, and he had done this many times before, because that is a crazy escalation for that to be your first crime. But the 150 or so women missing in Suwon were not connected to him in any way. Korean authorities also worked with Interpol, the international police, to see if there were any mysterious deaths in China near where he lived, and they could not find anything.
Wait, so the 150 women who died in the area or disappeared in the area is just an unsolved mystery?
They actually found a lot of the women alive. So some of them had run away. Some of them were just reported missing, and then their families found them a few hours later, and then they never reported that they found them again. It just turned out to be honestly pretty bad on the police again. Your records are not good. But for a brief moment in time, everyone was like, that is what's happening to the 150 women.
Oh, because of this whole meat trade.
Yes. They were like, wait, are there women missing in Suwon? They found out there's 150 women missing, like filed missing reports. So they're like, he must have killed 150 women and made human flesh pills.
Got it.
But turns out there is no evidence as of right now that indicates him being a serial killer, or at least none that they could find. The victim's family stated if the police had paid more attention, they could have saved Kimmy. Kimmy's younger brother cried. Despite hearing my sister's screams, the police were just relaxed from the beginning to the end in the call. My heart broke twice when I saw the police's attitude to everything. It's a married couple fighting, they said. I hoped the police would tell me it was some big misunderstanding. But no, they were all so calm in that phone call. They are all murderers too. And they will never get Kimmy back. She is now just a handful of ashes. There were actually a lot of changes that were made because of this case. Now, if you call 112 in South Korea, they do have an emergency dispatch system that is very similar to America, where it does not go to your local police station. It goes to a central station.
Because of this?
Because of this case. Wow. And those people are trained really well. They also get really good corporate benefits because they're trying to make it into, like, you know how Google and Facebook, they all give you all these crazy benefits and make it a pleasant work environment, or at least somewhat of an attractive position to have. So they do that to recruit some of the best operators, they say. They also stated that they're trying to hire operators that were already veterans in the police force.
Yeah, I cannot imagine a job like that. This is like the mental weight.
And they don't get paid well. Yeah, they don't get paid well. They don't really have holidays off because it's not like 112 calls or 911 calls stop on Christmas Day. So it's just, they're a very underappreciated group of people. Not these police, the ones that actually do their jobs. But let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts? And please stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Wow.
Crazy story.
Very crazy. Rest in peace. Police done pissed me off.
When do they don't? Honestly.
Yeah.
Y'all spam us up, man. Let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comments down below, man. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We Are.
Kid and C.
We Are.
No time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and on the